appreciate that. I was actually going to ask you about your club. An interesting couple of days.
Yeah,
Dragusin and Timo Werner signed 10 days into the window. The only top 6 team to do any significant business. I wanted to get you, before we are going to talk Arsenal, City, Liverpool title race after this, but I wanted to ask you, how pleased are you with the business, starting with, of course, Timo Werner?
Right, yeah. Listen, a frantic couple of days. We're not used to this. At Spurs, the first 10 days, we're used to a lot of rumours, a lot of everybody thinking we're all at it, aren't we? We know what's going on. I've heard from him, and his dog said that, and my cleaning lady's son works for the club, and all this nonsense. Spurs don't normally do anything, Terry, until like the 31st of January. So it's a very strange position to be sitting here 10 days in. Werner's signed, and Romano tweeted about 10 minutes ago saying that Dragusin's just completed his medicals at Hotspur Way, our training ground. So I expect that will be announced tonight. Very rare. I don't know how to feel about this. This is not what Daniel Levy normally does, but it's positive, right? This is a positive move for Tottenham Hotspur. I am someone that doesn't like the owners. I don't like how they've run the club, but credit where it's due. When something good happens, you can't be disingenuous. You have to say fair play to them. Now, to answer your question, if I take Werner first and then I'll take Dragusin, yeah?
Yeah, I want to do Werner first.
Right. Timo Werner. I cannot be disingenuous with this, Terry. We sat here exactly 7 days ago. You brought it up and went, oh my God. I think you were like head in your hands going, oh my God, Timo Werner, what's happened to Man United? Blah, blah, blah. I don't want him. And I sat there and I went, oh, I'm glad it's your club, not mine.
Right. 24 hours later.
Yeah. And then on Saturday morning, I sent you a voice note, didn't I, going,
yeah.
Oh, what's happened, Terry? What's happened? And you were just laughing at me. Look, okay, Timo Werner. I'm going to say this. I'm going to keep consistent with what I said on my channel, on other channels, right? This is either going to be a masterstroke from Postecoglou, or it's going to be awful and well, what did you expect? We've seen him at Chelsea. I think it's going to be, I don't think there's going to be any middle ground with this, Terry. Now, I can see why he would fit our system. Yes, I can. I can see the press. Ange loves the press. That's brilliant. He loves the pace. Brilliant. Right? He will work hard. Brilliant. He will get into 1 million goal scoring opportunities, positions. Brilliant. Here's the flip side to that, Terry. He's always offside. When he gets into those goal scoring opportunities, how clinical is he going to be? Right? I am very much, you know me, I don't mix my words. I am very much on the fence with this one. I don't know what to believe. I don't know whether this was someone that Ange really wanted or whether this was somebody that it presented itself as an opportunity and Ange said, actually, yeah, we can, you know what I mean? I can make this work. The proof of the pudding, as my mum used to say, is in the eating. Right? The proof of the pudding is in the eating. If he comes into this team, gets a lot of goals and assists in the last 18 games, Spurs have a buy option for £14 million, Terry. So if he hits the ground running and does brilliantly, great. Right? Great. Get him. If it doesn't, you could say, well, there's no risk because he's only on loan, sure. But for me, I'm gonna call it as it is. If it works, Postecoglou's going to get a lot of credit. If it doesn't work, that also is on Postecoglou. You can't have one without the other. So for me, this is more of a try before you buy, suck it and see. I'm just not sure. If he was that good, why are they letting him go on loan? And why is his buy option 17 million euros, which is 14 million pounds? We'll see. We'll see. I'm not dreadfully against it. I'm not dreadfully for it. We'll see. We'll see. Is that a fair answer?
I think it is. I look at it this way. Mark Goldberry said this about Graham Potter when he went to Chelsea. He went, I love the fact somebody's taking a risk on him. but I'm glad it isn't my club taking that risk. And that's how I sort of feel about this Timo Werner deal. I'm very excited as a football fan to see whether this works. We've seen Mount to Man United, and he's barely kicked the ball, really. We've seen Kai Havertz to Arsenal. He's had some good moments, but he hasn't clicked to Arsenal yet where everyone's going, oh, my God, what a masterstroke. No one is saying that generally.
Right.
This could be another one where everyone goes, what stupid bit of business. You were better off promoting a youngster, potentially. At the same time, he's very direct. He's very fast. He kind of suits what a lot of people would say is an Ange Postecoglou player. And I'm really intrigued to see whether or not he can turn it around, because if he does,
the word. Intrigued.
I am. I'm intrigued by it. I'm intrigued by the deal. I'm intrigued by the deal because, yes, you're a rival of mine. I don't want it to work for you because it could make you further ahead of us, right? It could. But I'm just intrigued by it. I think it's a really interesting piece. My gut feeling is I think he's going to work hard. I think he is going to be a thorn in the side of people. I still don't necessarily think he's going to have that clinical edge because I don't see why that suddenly appears again. He hasn't even. He did okay last year. He's not even kicking the ball for Leipzig, and that I think speaks volumes. If that makes sense. However, I think from my point of view and my perspective, I don't think it will work. I'm intrigued.
I just don't know. Do you know what he is? Do you know what I think he is, or what he's become in the last 4 years? Every now and then, I don't know if you've heard me say this before, Terry, but I always call players sometimes players. That you get your players that are always players. Mo Salah, he's an always player. Erling Haaland's an always player, right? De Bruyne, these people are always players. You get some that do something every 4 or 5 games and you go, oh my God. And everyone goes, oh my God, they're brilliant and amazing. But then they don't do anything for 3 or 4 more games and then they do it again.
Yeah.
Timo Werner for me is a scorer of great goals, not a great goal scorer. Now let that sink in for anybody that's not hearing that properly, right? Because people always get that wrong with me. There are players down the line, down the years that have scored great goals, but consistently, can they score the easy ones? Can they score the one-on-ones? Can they score the goals where, like one of the beauties of Harry Kane, you knew when Harry Kane was through on goal, one-on-one, right? Right foot, left foot, whether he's got around the keeper, dink the keeper, drive it low past the keeper, 9 times out of 10, you're putting your mortgage on Harry Kane to finish this dinner, right? These players, you don't. But every now and then, they do something wonderful. And I watched this highlight reel today of Timo Werner, and it was somebody had put this highlight reel together, and it was like literally, what was it? It was called something like 1 in 5 or something, and it would show like an amazing goal followed by 4 calamitous misses. And that's what I think we're going to get. Now, he will get the beauty of him coming to Spurs, right? This is all going to be on him. He will get chances in this Spurs system. We create chances, Terry. It's up to him if he wants to be able to finish his dinner. If he does, I'll sit back as a fan and go, well, I didn't particularly want him, but Postecoglou, what a job you've done there. And my respect for Postecoglou goes through the roof even more. Or I go, well, look, I don't know what we expected because this is the Timo Werner we knew. So, look, we'll see.
Do you know what it reminds me of? In 1999, Man United squad was brilliant. We had a player in the team that as a kid, I don't really know why I liked him so much. I think it was his name. I was a child. I was 12, 13 years old. And it was Jasper Blomqvist. I think I just liked his name. It was cool. He was a decent player. He actually started the Champions League final because of the. I think he's like, no, I'm a liar, but he started the Champions League final. We started something. Did he start the Champions League final? I need to check now.
Who's that? Timo Werner?
No. Jasper Blomqvist at Man United.
Oh.
And now I need to check. And there's a reason that I mention him, right? Because that's the final. It gives you the lineup. Did he start? He did start. He started on the left-hand side. I thought he did. A player like a Jasper Blomqvist, there was a lot of buzz around him at the time when Man United bought him. Really good prospect. Players like him remind me of players like Timo Werner. They should just be a supplement to a really good squad.
Right. Not the main man.
They're not the main men. And that they're a player that can come in when you're playing at home against the relatively easy teams and do well, or they're a player. Because Fergie used to say this, and I still think football works this way. You can afford to carry one player in a team. You can afford for one player in your 11, if you're a really good team, to be slightly below everybody else.
Sure.
And I think if you have Werner playing on your left-hand side or your right-hand side, but you've got a potent 9, you've got Son's playing well, James Maddison is creating, you've got Sarr and you've got Basuma and they're killing it. Your defensive line is strong and amazing. And then Werner's out there on the right-hand side running. Unless he misses an open goal that costs you a game, you're probably just going to be okay with your 6.5, 7 out of 10 performance.
But is that worth bringing in? That's the point, Terry. Is that worth bringing in?
So I agree. So where I think you've kind of gone wrong with this is it was a fairly big fanfare entrance with a really nice edited video. Just put a picture of him holding a shirt saying we brought him in on loan, and it lowers the pressure. Does that make sense? The more noise you make around a signing, and even that, I get the PR. He's an Ange player. I wouldn't even big it up like that, even if it's true. I would just say we brought him in on loan to surprise some. Because he is that level of a player. He is a Jasper Blomqvist level squad player. I don't think he's good enough to he'll do it in games, but he's never going to consistently. Same with Richarlison when he was on that good run of form. Never going to be good enough to week in, week out be a game changer for you in attack. I just don't see that. However, I think on a short-term loan, and by the way, if you do buy him, if he scores 1 in every 3 games, 1 in every 4 games, plays well as well, and then you buy him as a squad player at 17 million, that's not bad business. Like, genuinely, if it goes the way it could. But I think Spurs fans should drop the idea that he's going to become the Timo Werner that Chelsea thought they bought, scoring 25 to 30 goals in all comps a season. I don't think that's on the cards for this man in the Premier League or anywhere, in fact.
I guess, look, whether or not he's a success is going to be in the eye of the beholder. Like, what are you expecting from him as a fan? I'm not expecting a lot. I'm not expecting.
We do Standards FC. Standard FC. Every manager should be sacked who don't win a league title. So if every player doesn't, if a player doesn't get to Pele's level, therefore I'm going to do. If he doesn't get to Pele's level, then he's been a flop. That's the standard we'll set for Werner. If he ain't Harry Kane reborn, he's been a flop. That's the standard.
This is the thing. Look, for me, I'm not expecting the world from him. What I don't want, though, is that he comes in, grabs a couple of goals, and everyone just does this usual hyping up thing. Do you know what I mean? Like, however, if he comes in, grabs a winning goal against Chelsea, grabs a winning goal against Man City in the Cup, do you know what I mean? Grabs a winning goal at Old Trafford the week. You go, okay, I get it. He's got some really vital goals there and done brilliantly. If he comes in, grabs a couple of goals in games where we've won 4-0, and his goal was the 4th goal, right? And look, I'm not expecting loads. So anything for me that he does is a bonus. And then I guess, look, we'll judge it in 18 games' time, and Postecoglou will judge it in 18 games' time as to, is this guy worth bringing in full-time? All I do know is he can't be as bad as Richarlison. Serious. Terry, you can't be as bad as Richarlison. This man won a competition to be a Premier League footballer. He is dreadful. Awful footballer.
A lot of people have been backing him recently, though, like he's having a resurgence.
He can't control a football. He can't hold the ball up. He can't control a football. When he's through on goal, he is dreadful. You know where he's decent? When a ball's whipped in and he has to get to the near post and just get a touch. Yeah? Not bad. Yeah. Right? Not bad. A couple of times against Burnley in the FA Cup the other night, he's through on goal. He's played through lovely, and you're thinking, take a touch out your body and just rifle that in the corner. He can't do it. He can't. It's not in his locker. And he's another one. Every now and then we'll grab a screamer and people go, oh, look at him. And then for the next 6 games, you're going, sorry, this guy plays up front for Brazil. Like, no wonder
I know. It shows how far Brazil have fallen off. It really does. What's your take on Dragusin?
Yeah.
And also, I want your opinion on the fact that it has been confirmed by his agent he rejected Bayern Munich for you.
Yes.
Huge.
Yeah, I think that I'm seeing a lot of stuff going around today about him rejecting Bayern Munich because of 2 things. One was that he'd already given his word to Tottenham, which is commendable. If in this day and age, is commendable. And 2, about game time, which was one of the things Sean and I were talking about last night. Was Could the game time sway him? Will he be guaranteed more game time at Tottenham than Bayern? Yes, of course he will. Look, he's 21. If he wants to go to a Bayern, if he wants to go to a Madrid, we don't know how good he's going to be, but there's still time. He's 21 years of age. So look, he did say no to Bayern and yes to us, and he is at the he has just finished at the training ground and passed his medical. So look, I mean, I'm looking forward to him coming into the squad, because a lot of people talk about who will play. Is he a backup? Terry, Spurs, if we want to be a big club, if we want to strive to win trophies, this can't be about who's a backup. This needs to be that you've got Dragusin, Van der Ven and Romero, and they rotate, right? Players are going to be injured. We've seen that the last 10, 11 games, we've missed Romero and Van der Ven. Dragusin would have played every one of those games. Next year, we will be in Europe. Mark my words. We will be in Europe next year.
Oh, yeah, of course. Right?
And we're going to have 55, 60 games. You can't have Romero and Van der Ven only as your two centre-backs. So the three of them will all get plenty of football. From what I've seen of him, he looks very good. He looks a very good player. I believe he's been dribbled past once all season, and has only got one yellow card all season as well, which is good, because we've got Romero that will more than make up for any yellow cards that he doesn't get. So I think it's a really good deal. I'm really, really excited about this one. Werner on the fence. This one I'm really excited about, and hopefully they drop him straight into the 11 at Old Trafford on Sunday. So
you play us, don't you? Jesus, I've kind of been blanking that out in my head, if I'm being honest with you, in this midweek period. But yeah, I think he looks like a really good prospect. I don't know much about him, but I kind of follow the same process for all players I haven't really watched play. Is I'll just kind of look at scouting reports that are older than the links to the club he's gone to. So I'm looking at, there's a lot of good things to read about him, and I think there's a really good prospect, and I think there is some significance there of him choosing you over Bayern Munich. And I get the game time is part of it, and I know he gave a word to you first of all, but Spurs are a big club, and you're doing well in the Premier League. And I think what's really interesting is seeing you guys sign two players very early. The jury is out on Werner, there's no doubt. And I remember we had this conversation on maybe 4 or 5 straight facts ago, and your sort of view was very much along the lines of, I just don't want it to drag on until the end. And if, for instance, you see a difference in behavior, then there's change being made behind the scenes. And I think it's those changes behind the scenes that will give Spurs fans like you every bit as much hope of progression as watching Big Ange Postecoglou manage and the team playing the football the way it does.
Absolutely, because do you know what? There's only so much a manager can do. The manager's got to be given the tools, and the club's got to act in the right way. And one thing we've seen for years and years and years and years and years and more years on top of that, Terry, is Tottenham in transfer windows, dragging their feet, not getting their first, second, third, fourth, fifth choice, and ending up with somebody we don't want. And apparently, look, it was between Todibo and Dragusin. Todibo,
Coming United.
OGC Nice are saying they want extortionate amounts of money.
Daniel Levy.
Well,
United.
Goes United.
I'm only joking.
But look, we've got the man. Obviously, there was the panic in our fan base last night. You can imagine that it was Bayern Munich have finally put in a bid, and it was like, oh God, he's going Bayern. And then we all wake up this morning to, here we go, he's going to Tottenham Hotspur. So listen, at the moment, as I've said to you all season, I'm not expecting anything from Spurs this year in terms of winning anything, right? I'm just really happy with the direction in which the club is going. We finally look like we have got everybody on the same page, right? Everything. Somebody telling me to stop complaining about Levy. I'm afraid not. I don't know how old you are, but I've been a fan. I've been a Tottenham fan for 40 odd years, and Daniel Levy has not acted like this for 23 of them.
Yeah,
so
you can't. The saying that always comes to mind in this scenario is one swift does not a summer make. I think that's the saying. Or one swallow.
Like one swallow. Yeah.
One swallow. One swift does not a summer make. I'll get the right saying here. Yes.
Yeah, no. I hear you,
one
man.
swallow does not make a summer, and neither does one fine day. I think that's the saying. My dad always used to say swift. Anyway, yeah, it's true, and you guys have got to ask for a lot more, but it's a good change. It's now very much about keeping your foot on their necks, metaphorically, and you want more of this moving forward.